thing. Curiosity has me around Britain and the monarchy. What do you think's going on with that?
Well, it's interesting because whenever we've had, I think about again the Great Conjunction that has taken not well, the Great Conjunction was Jupiter and Saturn, but the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto that happened at the beginning of 2020 in Capricorn, and how that shifts power continuously. And so I feel like a lot of what we saw when this conjunction took place in 2020, we saw a lot of upheaval in places that sort of represented the last gasp of British imperial power. And so I feel like now the monarchy has become it's ceremonial. It's a ceremonial role, it's a symbolic role. And we see people kind of, especially with these, late Pluto in the very late degrees of Capricorn, which has been taking place over the course of this year. You've seen these really interesting ways in which people are showing us this allegiance that they still have, even people in the United States, which has been really interesting. Because in the US, of course, the US isn't possible without its rejection of monarchical power, without it saying no. Like, a hierarchy doesn't exist. Just because you were born a king doesn't mean that you're better than me. We have an innate equality. That country cannot exist without rebelling against the whole notion around which the monarchy exists, which is classist, yes, I will say, but its whole idea around some people are born better than others. Aquarius throws all of that out. And so it'll be interesting to see how it is that Britain continues to address that, evolve with that. But I know just in the last 3 years with Saturn in Aquarius, how many countries have either said that they're no longer a part of the Commonwealth, how it is that countries have already began the process of disconnecting from the Commonwealth, officially so, and what that's going to mean going forward from here. I think it's also very interesting that so much of what I'm seeing Harry go through is exactly what Diana went through.
Right?
It's shocking to me. It's incredible to me. And the way in which he has come to embody our need to address and look at and heal around a person being able to live their life on their own terms, not being born into obligation. What is that actually require? But yeah, it's so interesting in that, he has spoken what is true for him. Diana did. Diana got at first some sympathy, but then a whole lot of hostility. That's what's happening with him as well. Diana chose somebody, Dodi Fayed, very different cultural background, very different ethnic background. And that was part of what made her become that much more a magnet to hostility, especially of the media, because she's supposed to be the property of the people. And the same thing now is happening with Harry, based on whom it is that he's chosen to love as well. And the ways in which, people who never read the book, who haven't really contemplated the fact that this is an individual with their own agency and a right to decide their own life, the ways in which these people have been subject to that hostility, the sense that, no, we own you, therefore, it is shocking to those of us rooted in sensibilities of, what the American Revolution was really about. So you see that tension in people, in American people and Canadian people, where the best of the American psyche and the American consciousness at odds with what this very traditional, no, we own you because of whom you were born into and the family you were born into. Very fascinating to see that. But of course, I wish him so, so, so well. It'll be interesting to see how he continue. I just think he's living his truth. He's living his life. He's doing the best that he knows how to do. And I think that's it, that he just wants to do his own thing. And so we'll see how that continues for him.
Yeah. I have when I look at I do see the monarchy basically diluted and it will continue to be diluted until it is a picture on a wall, you know,
Mm, mm.
and old monarchies, the Buckingham Palace will be a place for us to visit. I think eventually that's where this is headed. And that's probably the way it needs to go, but it will take a little while. But I think this year is the beginning of the end. I really do. And it's not just because the queen has died, it's because the king is not interested. He's not. He's not interested. He was 40 years ago, but he's not interested anymore. And I just got a weird sense that he's just bypassed it. So I'm looking forward to the end of that, because I think it's outdated. I think it's outdated, and that's okay. And it's not that I have any disapproval for any of it, except I do have issues with the elite. And one of the things that I saw is the USA is going to be, um, I would say, in the headlines regarding the elites and the calling out of some very, very, let's just say, very bad example of elites. We'll say it that way, because not all elites are the same. I mean, we can clump them all together if we're being shallow. That would be just as shallow as clumping all one race together or whatever. So I'm not going to do that. I know there are many elites who have been getting away with things, but I do think this year is going to be the greatest year ever to call them out and to put some restrictions in place so that it limits this situation. And that also will take about 2 or 3 years to complete. And I think someone with a lot of money, one of the elites, will fund it. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm seeing there, but I keep getting a B around it. Now, is it possible it's that man who owns Amazon? Maybe. Okay. I don't know why I'm seeing that, but I'm looking forward to that too, because then that'll, set some things straight and help to heal some people along the way. So that's just a little bit. I mean, there's probably so much more, but we have touched on a lot of stuff, and even longer than I expected. So what I'm hoping we can do now.
May I just add just one more thing I do want to say about, I mean, I know it's fascinating. We're talking about this, and I know we have to go into the signs as well in the
Yes,
short time that we have left. But I will say this. I think that really watch what happens in March, because I feel like someone is going to emerge related to who will be the next president of the US. I think that in 2024, whoever ends up being president, being crowned on the election night, is going to be somebody who hasn't been president before, who's going to represent sort of this rejection of um, the
yes,
establishment, a rejection
yes.
of, it's not, I think it's very unlikely that it's going to be somebody who is older.
No.
It's going to be somebody who really is considered a wild card, a wacky type of person, a self-made person, maybe in the tech world. I don't see it being Elon Musk. I think, we end up unconsciously sort of playing out the functions we're supposed to. Keep in mind that it is going to be this year that we are likely to see the death of one social media platform and the emergence of another. And I think that we're likely going to see the death of Twitter, but something brand new is going to emerge. And so it'll be interesting to see who that is and how that comes together. But on election night, whoever ends up being crowned president is going to represent that rejection of big money,
Good.
of big corporations, of hierarchical ideals, and is going to be, a whole other type of embodiment of representation. It'll be very interesting to see. So
Yeah.
that's the last thing.
Yeah, likely because of this revolutionary energy. It's like they have to get someone in place to calm the masses. They
Mm-hmm.
have to. And we may be calling out a revolution, but we are not ready for no leadership.
Yeah,
We
for
are
sure.
not ready for that. We are nowhere close to being able to manage that. I mean, it would just be chaos. It would be
But
chaos.
it's like it's okay to see it differently in terms of, okay, the president is a job. And maybe sometimes that job involves inspiring people and stuff, but if we can reconfigure our relationship to that person, a human being with